Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to a quick video for Sid Meier's Civilization 7, where I want to clarify some things about legacy paths, because I got some great questions in some of the recent YouTube videos, and it seemed like a great thing for us to go and clarify. In every age, you will have these legacy paths, and here we're looking at the Antiquity Age paths, where we have culture, military, science, and economic. Now, each one of these paths will be made up of a number of steps. So, for example, for military, step 1 is study the discipline civic. Step 2, have 4 military units, assemble them into a full army. Step 3, have a siege unit, and capture an enemy settlement. Now, what's important is these 3 steps here don't actually contribute or advance the legacy path. And in fact, are optional. You don't need to ever build a siege unit, for example, for you to progress down this military path, because the way you actually earn points along this step over here is exclusively this trait here, this have X number of towns or cities in your empire, where conquered settlements count as 2. And we can see that when we get to the 4th step over here, we can see the objective is earn 6 Pax Imperatoria legacy points by conquering and they're worth certain points. That's it. These steps, actually all of these steps, as far as I understand it, assuming I'm not getting confused, but I'm pretty confident at this point, all of these steps here are not actually how you progress these legacy paths. They guide you along it, and in particular with the military, these final 3 steps are indeed just saying, get X settlements, get X settlements, get X settlements over here. But it's this number here, this 12 cities or towns or cities in your empire, that actually progresses and advances the legacy path. We can see the text here, right? It says the objective, hey, you should earn 6 Pax Imperatoria legacy points. You don't earn legacy points by completing the steps. You complete them by, in this case, having towns or cities. And that will advance this meter over here until you get these age progression points. So, for example, for every town or city that we have, and again, conquered ones count 2, you advance up here, and when you get to 6, you've reached here and get a point. Well, 6 is what this step is telling you to get to do this. These steps are guidances. They are tutorials, but they aren't actually the thing that lock you in. For example, in culture as well, if we look at these steps, well, the culture ones are a lot more straightforward because it's build a wonder, build 2 wonders, build 4 wonders, build 7 wonders. And again, here for the culture legacy path, it's just build wonders. Every wonder gives you a step along the way. So this first step, which is build any wonder, doesn't actually give you anything, right? It's a step, it's a guidance, it's the sort of a tutorial thing. Hey, you should build an wonder of some kind. But all that'll do will get you up to here. It's when you get to the point of 2 wonders where you have enough to reach this first step, which gives you a reward for the next stage. And that's what it is. Build a certain amount of these, reach these checkpoints, get rewards for the next stage. Military, again, the cities. For science, have some codices. And we can look, even if we ignore everything here, we can see that after 1, 2, 3 codices, we must be getting a reward, and 4, 5, 6, another one, and then once we get to 10, another one. And if we look through all these, again, build a library, research writing 2. These are technically optional, although you will almost certainly be doing it because writing 2 gives you a codex, for example, which is one of the things you're looking for. Libraries are places where you can install codexes. And, in general, you're probably going to unlock these along the way. Who's not going to build a library? We're talking about Civ. But as we advance, we can see once we get to this step over here, now we can finally see earn legacy stuff, get to 3 codices. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3. And then for economic, it's the same thing. It's have a certain number of resources. And if we counted these pips up, I think it's 7, 14, and 20. And we can confirm that by just checking these last steps, 7, 14, and 20. But again, here there's going to be some steps like, hey, you should improve trade relations with civilization. You don't need to do this. If you can get a ton of resources without increasing trade relations with other civilizations, then you will complete this perfectly fine as is. So I thought that was an important point of clarification because it can be a little bit misleading. In fact, I don't know that I'm still, when I'm playing, I'm still looking at these steps as like little check marks to go off because I like to see it progress, right? If we track the progress, and by the way, this is something else. Hold on. 2 more points of clarification. If you're playing the game, maybe for the first time, you likely will have tutorials turned on. One of the tutorial pop-ups that will happen is you will have to choose from one of the 4 legacy paths. That can be a little bit misleading to people because you might think you are choosing one of the 4 exclusively. That is not the case. What you're choosing in that tutorial pop-up is simply which one of them to have the tutorial advisor guide you towards and give you coaching towards. You are always simultaneously pursuing all 4 of these legacy paths at the same time, simply by building stuff. You know, even if you're being a super military empire, if you build some wonders, it'll just advance this. And if you get some codices, it'll advance this. In fact, pretty much if you're running a successful empire, likely all of these will advance somewhat. The military might be a little trickier because 6 settlements without any captured ones might be tricky, just because you might be having problems hitting that settlement limit. Although again, 6 is fairly doable, even without conquest. The other ones may be a little bit more because you need that double one. But the others, having lots of culture, having lots of codices, having lots of resources, these are going to just accrue on their own as you're doing stuff. So you're going to get some of it. It does still make sense to probably focus a little bit if, for example, if you really want to get all the rewards from building wonders, well, building 7 wonders, you're going to have to focus on it. Although you'll get almost as many rewards just for building a much more manageable 4, for example. So these are things to do. Okay, so there was that. There was the tutorial. And then the other thing are these little checkboxes, which are really handy. One of the things is if you enable one of these 4 legacy paths in the tutorial, what it's basically doing is just clicking on this checkbox for you, which will add a little tracker on the left-hand side. And you can have these all on at the same time. Again, this has no impact on gameplay. At no point are you making a decision about which one of these to follow. They're always active all the time. We're just adding them all to the left-hand side. Now, these will only give you the next step. And again, these steps can be optional. For one thing, for me, what comes up all the time is plenty of times I don't end up ever building a siege unit, for example. But I still have reached these next steps over here. And I think with the tracking, it will still tell me, hey, you should build a siege unit. Hey, you should build a siege unit. Partly, I wouldn't mind if turning on the tracking, all it did from the start is track this number and, you know, showed me 0 of 7 world wonders. And, you know, that's my ultimate goal, is build lots of world wonders over there. But obviously, after we've played a couple of games of Civ, we're going to have all these things just loaded into our brain. And already I know what the 4 things are to progress through for these over here. I still like completing the sub-steps because it feels good to check them off. But there have certainly been a few situations where I probably went out of my way to go and complete one of those sub-steps when it wasn't strictly required. Anyway, that, I hope, addresses some questions that I saw from other people having in my YouTube comments to some of the other videos about legacy paths. If you have any more questions about legacy paths, absolutely leave them below in the comments. And actually, about any other game mechanic that might benefit from a little clarification video like this, I would certainly appreciate it. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop a like. It's really useful for the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.